my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. To see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. High and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. Holy, holy, holy. I want to see you. See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. High and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. High and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. High and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing holy, holy, holy. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord.
We've been all the way through the old city, the hustle and the bustle of the streets. We've been through many of the bazaars. We've been through many of the antiquities. But now we're at the site known as the Garden Tomb. The empty tomb is right behind me. A rock-cut tomb in a rich man's garden. A very large water cistern outside the city walls by a public highway. If Jesus did not rise from the tomb, what can I tell you? The tour was probably in vain. Yes, we've got the physical journey and an exciting journey to try to bring the words of the Bible to you, both in word and in deed, to make it tangible. But what is also very much required in all of this journey is your faith.
From heaven to earth to show the way, from the earth to the cross, my debt to pay.
Are you all ready to walk where Jesus walked? Are you ready to see what you've been reading about all your life? To be in that space is simply going to be awesome. I can't wait. I can't wait because when this was brought to my attention about going to the Holy Land, you would have thought, Bishop, as much travel as you have done, you mean you've never been? I've never been. I've always wanted to go. I remember when I was a kid, first got saved, just started ministering, and the church that I was a member of, Pentecostal Holiness Church on Elm Street in Goldsboro, North Carolina, my pastor, Bishop N.M. Midget, they went. My father wanted to go, but with 11 children, just too poor to go. And I thought to myself, wow, one day I'd like to go. And that day is here. But not only do I get to go, I get to go with the people whom God has called me to lead this flock. And so I'm so thankful for this opportunity that we got. You're going to get the detail. You're going to get the who, what, when, where, why, and how in a moment. I just simply wanted to share with you this. Now, right now, if you are curious, says, I'd love to do this, just wondering how much, all that's going to be answered. What I have found, the first order of business is to lean into what you want. Amen. If you already say, I can't do that, you've already answered your own prayer. Well, I don't know. You've already answered your own prayer. But to go deeper, and that's what we're talking about, going deeper, but now going deeper into the Holy Land all the way into next year. I think we have a PowerPoint that LaShonda is gonna come and just share some things and then give you more information. We have handouts as well because I know everybody is not just an audible listener or learner or visual. Some of us like to have some in our hand so we can go back and read over it, amen, and begin to think about it. If you already do all kinds of vacations anyhow, add this to the list of what you want to do. Come on, Sean. You want to come up here? Let me help you. Here you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Bishop, for this opportunity. And hello, Life Changers. I have prepared a brief presentation to share some information with you. But before I get into that, I kind of just want to give you the background of how this all came about. Back in 2020, some of my family members and a few friends had decided that we wanted to go to Israel. And so we started doing some research. We found a church, and we had started down their process, making our payments, going into the meetings. This was late 2019. And then 2020, what happens? The world shut down. And so, of course, we were all disappointed about it, but it didn't take place. And so towards the end of last year, God started putting that on my spirit again. I am a traveler. I caught the travel bug a few years ago, and I absolutely love to travel. But God started putting Israel on my heart again. And so I called that same group up and was like, we need to do this again. You know, we need to connect. We need to find a church. We need to do something. We started researching. There was no church. And so we were like, okay, well, we're just going to go on our own. Started doing some research. And it still just was not sitting right. And so as I was doing the research, I came across this company. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, this is too good to just have just our family and friends. And so I brought the proposal to Bishop, and thank God he loved it. And so here I am today to share the information with you. So you are being passed around the brochure from the company, and I will be talking a little bit more about that, but we're going to go ahead and get into the PowerPoint. So this trip is a 12-day trip. We will be visiting 3 countries and multiple cities. The first country, we'll spend 2 nights in Egypt, which is the first country. And this is just some of the highlights of what we'll be doing, as you see on the screen. In the brochure, it gives a day-by-day itinerary of the details of everything. But just to highlight, I'm sorry, go back to Egypt. Just to highlight, we will be visiting the Great Pyramids of Egypt, the statue of Ramses. We'll visit King Tut's tomb in one of the museums, the Great Sphinx. We'll even take a camel ride so we can be closer up to the Sphinx and the pyramids. And the last one here, I want to highlight this one. We'll be visiting St. Sergius Church. The significance of that church is this is the purported site of where Mary and Joseph stayed when they fled to Egypt. So it's a church now on that land. So we'll be visiting that church. Be sure and take a note of the little travel motivational phrases too at the end of the screens. So 2 nights in Egypt. Next page, next screen. Then we'll move on to Jordan. And here we'll spend 2 nights visiting the capital city of Amman. Sorry, I have my back turned to you all, trying to see the screen. We'll visit the Sikh Passage, which is this picture right here. The Sikh Passage is a passage into one of the 7 wonders of the world, which is Petra. Petra is a full city that was built on the side of a mountain, and it is just phenomenal. And so we will have an opportunity to tour that whole site. We will actually visit the burial place of Aaron, where Aaron was buried. And again, multiple cities we will tour there. We will go on Mount Nebo and look over into the Promised Land as Moses did. You know, awesome. The whole trip is narrated by professional tours. This company is a Christian company, and I'll talk a little bit more about them in a few, but the whole trip is narrated by professional tour guides who are either Christian or Jews, and they are all local to the area. Next screen. And then we get to the Holy Land. We will spend 6 glorious days and nights in Israel. We will have the opportunity to be baptized in the Jordan River. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We will visit Mount Carmel, several other cities as you see listed. And again, this is by no means a complete list. We will even see Megiddo, which, as we know biblically, that is the site for where Armageddon will take place. We'll be able to walk through the Garden of Gethsemane, pray in the garden. We'll visit the Garden Tomb, the purported site of Jesus' tomb, Mount of Olives, and then so much more. We'll walk the Passion Walk. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about this company. So as I said, a few years ago, I started this process of researching, and we had looked at several companies, and there are a lot of companies out there. But through the vetting process, we found this company, and going through reviews, the Better Business Bureau, you name it, we researched, because this is a big investment, right? So we wanted to be careful and sure to, partner with a company that had a really, really good reputation. And Maranatha Tours, they're headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona. They've been in business for over 30 years. When I was doing the review and looking at different, how you can go on the Better Business Bureau and look at complaints and all of that. And with other companies, I saw multiple complaints, many of them unresolved. With this company, they had 1 complaint in the past several years, and that one was resolved. That's usually really unheard of when you think about, we usually tend to complain. We don't talk about when companies do well, organizations do well, but we complain a lot. And to see that this company only had 1 complaint in the past several years was very notable. So the trip is an all-inclusive trip. And these are some of the key things that are included in the payment. So we get a round trip ticket from Chicago to Egypt, and then when we return from Tel Aviv back to Chicago. The trip also includes all ground transportation, and that ground transportation is in an air-conditioned charter bus. First class hotels. Now let me tell you about the hotels. So I was really, really concerned about that. And so in talking with the company, she sent me the list of the hotels that they use. We are in 4- and 5-star hotels. This is not, any rinky-dink trip. 4- and 5-star hotels. And we get our meals, breakfast and dinner. So as I'm going through this list, think about we see what the price of things are these days. So just think about these things that we're getting in terms of comparing it to the price of the trip. So I mentioned professionally guided tours. We have all of our tickets to all attractions paid for. We don't have to worry about tipping anybody. It's covered. And we will have portable listening devices because we anticipate that this is going to really catch on. We're going to have a really nice sized group. And so to make sure that everyone hears everything that's narrated and said, everyone will have their own personal listening device of what the narrator is saying throughout the trip. Did I miss anything? So I do want to mention, I did my presentation with my daughter and her friend, and they was like, well, you didn't mention anything about lunch. So you got to say something about lunch. So I want to make sure to highlight, lunch is not included, but you do get the breakfast and the dinner. All right. And let's see, did I miss anything else on that? That's it for that screen. So here we are at the price, and if you have your brochure, you may have already seen it. The cost of this trip is $5,448, and that is the price, no additional taxes or anything like that. And I've posted 2 different options for payments that you may want to consider. The first one is for quarterly payments. So the trip, we will be leaving April 2nd. That is the week of Easter. So Easter will be that Sunday, and I think April 2nd is a Tuesday. We'll be leaving right after Easter. But the final payment has to be made by February 16th. They require final payment, all monies in, 45 days before our trip. So that's February 16th. So if you want to break that down quarterly, given that we're right at February's door, that's 12 months, those would be the dates of payment, and each payment divided out would be $1,237. $1,237. Another option would be paying your deposit, $500, and then you have 11 months. If you paid your deposit in March, then you will have 11 months to pay the balance, and that monthly payment would be roughly $450. Now, as you look at your brochure, when they talk about the payments, Maranatha has certain dates where they require certain amounts. And so following this date plan would meet that requirement as well. Okay. In order to register for the trip, you have to pay the $500 to sign up, and then you make your payments directly to Maranatha. No money goes through the church. All payments are paid directly to the company. I think that's it on that screen. Next screen. All right, so next steps would be, these are the different ways that you can register. You can use the QR code that is on the brochure. You can even fill out the brochure and mail your check or payment into the company, or you can call them directly and make your payments. So at this point, that is pretty much the end of the presentation. Are there any questions that I may be able to answer? Yes. Yes. So she asked about travel insurance. Travel insurance, especially on an investment of this amount, is always recommended. The company does partner with another company, travel company, and it is on the brochure. But the representative wanted me to make sure that I emphasize with you all that insurance is particularly for people that have health issues or health concerns. That insurance is not for, you initially plan to go and then for whatever reason you decide, no. I don't want to go. If that is not that insurance. So the insurance that they offer is more or less for medical reasons. There are plenty of other travel insurances available out there. Oftentimes your credit card companies may offer some programs to look into. But for this particular insurance that they partner with, it's only for health reasons. Yes. No, the price does not get adjusted, but they offer other incentives for us. So the price will be set, but other incentives that we will be able to enjoy will be available. Yes.
I have two questions. The first question is regarding the roommate, because on the back it talks about single room,
Mhm.
double room. So
Yes.
the 1198 is that single room? Is that in addition to the 54?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So if you decide you want a single room, there is a premium on that of a little over $1,000 in addition to the 5448. So the 5448 is based on two people being in the room. If you want to go and you say, well, I don't have anyone that I can double with as a coordinator, that will be one of my responsibilities to kind of help partner people up for double occupancy.
And my second question is going back to your original slide, the length of that flight. I just need that. I need a mission pregnant. About 14 hours. Okay, I just need
So the flight is pretty lengthy. I will say I did not research or ask that question, but I do know that we will get 2 meals on the flight. So that in itself says that we're going to be up there for a bit. Yes. Yes. Okay. About 14 hours, I'm hearing. Great question. So you may have seen on the screen where I had a suggestion of March 31st for the deposit. That is not a final. You can pay all the way up to the time of the trip or delay your deposit. So if you can't make the $500 payment by March 31st, that by no means mean you can't attend or go. You have up until, I think, 90 days before the trip, where then they'll start to charge a late registration fee. Good question. No, no. We will be arranging for a charter bus that will most likely, we all meet here at the church and go, because I don't want to be chasing everybody trying to, no. We will, but that will be a small nominal fee for that, Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. The company says that they have no capacity limit. So as many people as you want to invite and to participate, more than welcome. Right. Right, right. So that sort of information, once we, as we start to have meetings, because we'll periodically be having meetings throughout the year about it. And so questions like that about the currency, she's asking about, will we need to exchange currency? All of those details I will be bringing forth to you as I get them from the company.
I like to ask about passport and vaccinations.
Yes, very, very good question. Passports are needed. And my recommendation, my strong, strong recommendation is to get it early. My family and I were doing a trip recently, and one of my family members did not have her passport. And we were leaving, and she had to pay expedited fees, and those fees are so, so expensive. So the passport itself, I think, is a little over 100 or so, but it can get up to $300-$400 or more if you wait. So that is something that you really want to do as soon as possible. Order your passport, because they are delayed too. It's taking longer these days. Since the pandemic, it's been taking longer. Vaccinations, yes. So again, the company will give me information about everything that's required, and then I'll be having meetings and communications. And as you register, the company will also be sending you communications as well. So they will be doing some communications to you as well as, us from the church. Okay. Yes, they'll give us all of the information health-wise. And again, a plug for this company, I have been working with them now for several weeks. They are phenomenal with their customer service. I mean, I just can't say enough about, we haven't even started, we haven't paid them anything, and they have just really been responsive. But they do ask that only one contact per group. And so, again, that's my role. So information that you'll see, can you put on here's my information. Please make a note of that. The phone number is a voice message box at the church, but I will be checking that daily. But if you need a more immediate response, feel free to email me. Yes.
So, are there any other expenses other than the all-inclusive price that we saw that we need to know about?
Well, definitely you want to cover your lunch. You want to make sure that you have the passport, and then there will be the expense of us getting to and from Chicago. And of course, spending money.
As our coordinator, I'm curious, will you encourage us or will you provide like a packing guide?
Yes. We will do all of that. We'll have recommended packing lists. I will give you the dates and information on medical shots, vaccinations. And I'm sure Bishop will be doing, some pre-teaching on some of the sites that we'll be visiting. So we'll have that information as well and some studies. Yes.
I see cancellations, but are there refunds in case something comes up, like we get sick or anything like that?
So if you don't purchase the insurance or any insurance, on the back, they do describe their cancellation policy. And it's based on timing and if you would need to. We don't pray nobody has to cancel, but in the event that happens, they do have a policy of if you cancel within a certain amount of days from the trip, you get X amount. But that starts to decrease the closer you get to the trip. So that is listed on that brochure. Yes. Correct. But this is our custom trip. So this company offers standard trips. When you go on the website, you'll see all different kinds of trips. And people, they offer standard, and then they offer, custom trips like what we're taking. But this is New Life's trip. So, Bishop always does the best for us, right? And let me just say something, too, about price. So in the research, I found price for a Holy Land trip can range from, I think I saw the lease was like $3,000 and something for about the same amount of time. So some people may say, well, why is our trip so expensive? I really want you to keep in mind the things that I've highlighted for this trip. When you see those prices, or when I saw them online where the prices was in that price range, you weren't getting fed. You definitely weren't staying in a 4 or 5-star hotel. So those things, please keep in mind when we are thinking and talking about the price of this trip. Okay. Yes.
Are there accommodations for maybe people that may not be able to, since it's a walking tour in places to, is there something for them if they get tired? Maybe some are older?
That's a really great question. So what they recommend is, and they encourage you to know that this is a physical trip. Their general guideline is if you can walk about a mile or so a day, you should be in good shape. There are some elevated areas, so like unfortunately people in wheelchairs and things like that wouldn't be able to really enjoy the full benefits of the trip. The walking, they say we will walk on average about 4 to 5 miles a day. However, that is not straight. So there will be breaks, times to rest. Even if you say, well, I'm going to forego this, you can stay on the bus, or in certain places there are rest areas. So there is some accommodation, but, you have to be able to do some walking. In some places, yes. Yeah, because we'll literally be climbing some mountains and some hills and things. Okay. Yes. Okay, so no, it's not only limited to New Life. So anyone can participate. They do not encourage children to participate in this trip, so they don't sway from their price. So it would be the same. But yes, you can have 3 people in the room, but the price won't. It'll still be the same. Oh yes, teenagers are. Yes, yes. They say 12 and up is good. No, people from the United States are not required to have visas, just passports. Are there
The
any-
card, though.
Did you, are there any other questions? Yes. Yes, yes. So, Elder was saying that to emphasize it is not just for New Life. You're more than welcome to encourage and invite your family and friends to participate. All of that health information will be forthcoming. So I will have the details of that at a later date. And if you ask something and I don't have the answer, I promise I will get the answer for you. So please feel free to shoot me an email or give me a call message. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so we are doing this same informational on Tuesday evening, and I believe the time is 6 p.m. Okay, so feel free to call the church for the Zoom link, and we will get that to you. Okay, so that is all I have. Thank you so much for your time.
Give it up for Rashonda for bringing this to us. And I also want to just mention, too, that don't bother with calling the church for the Zoom link. We will send the Zoom link out to just everybody, and then you'll have that. Because you would have wanted a family member to have known or would have go with you. They don't live here. Possibly they go to another church. I don't know why a family member of yours would go to another church. But anyhow, thought I'd just slide that in. But at any rate, so family member that lives somewhere else, whatever the case may be, we'll just send that link out, and so you will grab that. Want to say to you that when you're thinking about that price, when we were just talking about life and money equals time and so on and so forth, when you talk about 5,000, a little over 5,000, $5,500 for an international flight, I'm not talking about going to Jamaica or the Bahamas or Cancun. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about across the pond. That is an expensive ticket. Very expensive ticket. So when you say, okay, I'm going across the pond and there's hotel, there's meals, and I'm going to see all of this, that's quite a bit that you get for what you're about to pay. And so